Oh, yeah. All right, we're starting. Shut up. Bring me my coffee. Bacon. All right, bring me a spaceship. Let's go. Not that button. Oh, no. Oh, well. There we go. All right, turn down the music. Oh, not that much. There we go. All right, Bacon, thank you so much. It might be that you're a little bit too small today. Can't push the buttons. You're not thinking right. All right, there you go. Right about there. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Whoa, look at my hair. Give me a second. Much better. Let me get my coffee. Okay, welcome back from 10 minutes ago. I'm Tommy Two Socks, and today we are watching things and crazy stuff about April 8th. America has given us a warning. Are we going to listen today? Well, let's watch and see. Bacon, push the button. Not that button. Thank you. Whoa, who's this guy? Shush.
So why is everyone talking about April 8th? Why is everybody worried about it?
Why?
Well, today we're going to discuss just that, talking about the solar eclipse, but in a little bit different fashion. The thing is,
There's
it
a
could be
solar
nothing.
eclipse?
Absolutely, it could be just a beautiful sight that someone hadn't seen in a while.
That's true.
But some of the preparations and some of the declarations we've heard, it's what's blowing my mind. Let's talk about it today and let's jump into it. And I want to get your perspective on this, and I'm going to give you mine, and we'll see what we can come up with. Today's video starts right now.
Yay!
Life is a winding
Oh,
road.
that's a theme song. I need a theme
Hey guys,
song.
welcome to the Max. Thank you so very much for being here today. If you're new to the channel, go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell, give us a thumbs up. Please, it helps us stay in the algorithm and helps tell this platform that, hey, we like this message and it's a good message to spread across YouTube.
We'll
So
see
we
about
hope
that.
that you will watch, comment, let us know what you think, and if you like it, give us a thumbs up. It sure does help. So today we're going to be talking about April 8th. There's a big solar eclipse that's supposed to happen. I'm going to show you the pathway right here. Now, I'll be honest with you. Here in South Mississippi, we've heard nothing about this. And, you know, we've heard there's a solar eclipse, of course, but we have not heard, you know, some of the things of being overwhelmed and the emergencies declared. Now, there's been several states and several counties declare a state of emergency. Now, the thing is, what is being told to us by places in Texas, places in Oklahoma, and places in Ohio is that, well, we're doing a state of emergency so it allows us to have more, you know, feet on the ground, troops on the ground, basically in a way that we can help with crowds. There's going to be so many crowds coming to these small towns, and that, you know, we just want to make sure that we can handle the crowd control, handle the traffic. Okay. You know, you're like, okay, that sounds reasonable. You would think that they, you know, like for instance, our county has what we call an emergency management protocol, and local people and local volunteer firemen, they come together and they help with events like that, with tons of tourism coming in for some reason. Therefore, then what happens? They handle the situation. But why are all these governors and mayors and city administrators wanting National Guard there? Now, there's been some speculation to show that there's been specialists called in for different things that the government does. And they're saying, well, we're going to put them boots on the ground just for safety and protocol. They're also telling their people, these mayors, these states, these governors, are telling their people it may be wise to have, you know, maybe 2 weeks worth of food put up. And if you don't have that, maybe go buy it, because it's good to prepare, because there's going to be so many people there. We may not have enough food. We may not have enough restaurants. Or we may not have enough beds to stay in for this event.
Right.
Now, have you ever heard that? I mean, we're talking general tourism, a natural phenomenon.
Where have we heard this before? I'm telling you. heard this lots of times. Many times I've heard people talk about, oh, there's gonna be like a stock market crash. There's gonna be like this or that. But what they don't tell you is that if you, after the fact, if you rewind and see the history, you actually notice that it's like to the day, which is so stupid, man. Like, really? Like, you're so caught up in your traditions and you're like, excuse me, thingambobbers, you know what I'm saying? Like your prophecies that you have to do it on the day. It's 10 years to the day every time, like 9/11, before that stock market crash, and then the flu, and then 10 years later there's COVID, and then, sorry, can I say that word now? It should be. CDC says that it's like a tiny little thing now, and we just blew it way out of proportion. But check this out, man. This is like it. Like April 8th would be to the day. 10 years is the next big thing, and so that really scares me. Not that intelligent, but I am incredible. Shush. Let's go.
Phenomenon happening with the solar eclipse. So you're thinking, okay, big group of people coming in to see a beautiful spectacle.
Yes.
But that usually brings happiness. That usually brings, well, we want to
Does
prepare
it?
for the crowds, but ultimately we're going to bring food trucks in. We're gonna make it big and try to, economic development.
Mm-hmm.
And instead, they're almost doing a precarious warning. I mean, there's been declarations where they want National Guard at these locales. And that could be just traffic. I could be
Right.
putting on just my tinfoil hat, but
Right.
I want to read you some of the comments that have come out from this, from leadership, from representation of people in power.
Mm-hmm.
There's one person that wrote to the Columbus Dispatch, Columbus, Ohio. It says, "We're all going to be overwhelmed by the amount of emergency planning we need to embrace the solar eclipse." Now listen to that wording. That was a direct quote. They're worried about the overwhelmness that we're going to feel and the people are going to feel by being here. There's another one in Central Texas that says, "We're expected to have some of the best views. However, we're worried about the totality of the amount of people traveling in, and we're going to issue a disaster declaration." A disaster declaration, people.
Whoa.
Now they're saying, well, that's just protocol. That's what we have to say to get the people here to help us. Really? Are we that to a point where we have to
Crazy.
declare a disaster to have people come in to help for tourism? That's crazy to me.
That is
Some
crazy.
estimates show that there's going to be hundreds of thousands of people traveling to come to this area. It says that because of that, they're wanting to declare and have National Guards there. This is one quote from Oklahoma National Guard. They're going to be there for April 8th as emergency management just needs their assistance. It says the 22 member. Now listen to
22
this now.
members.
The 22 members of elite chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear units will be housed in Broken Bow, in addition to 110 to 150 Oklahoma Highway Patrol officers. There will be 150 first responders there and volunteers to help also with the amount of people.
Damn.
Now, I want you to listen.
Yep.
22 members of the chemical, biological,
Not 21. Okay, I'm sorry, I paused it, but this is important for me to say. Not 21. 21. So this is not Jeff, all right? Not 21, but 22. Jesus. Oh my God, dude. Like 22 people. Oh, no.
radiological, and nuclear unit will also be housed with these National Guards and Highway Patrolmen.
Mm.
I don't know about you, but if I'm talking tourism, crowd control, I'm not thinking I need a nuclear scientist or a biological scientist
Yep.
there to help with that crowd control.
Yep, yep,
And
yep.
there's been cases where they talked about, biblical proportions with the Passover, with the red heifers, and the names of the towns being Nineveh. I mean, there's a lot there.
Heifers.
And you can go and dive deep in that. The thing that blows my mind, though, is here on the respect of a prepper.
Right.
If they're telling you to buy 1 or 2, 3 weeks worth of food just for safety, I think that's a wise thing to do because we've been trying to preach that for years here.
Mm.
But now we're starting to see so many National Guard moves in. What if all of a sudden it's just a traffic situation?
Right.
What if all of a sudden there is no food in the town because there's a shortage because 100,000 people come to town, which I think is a farce. Could it be a stop? Maybe. Could they use the solar
Let's
eclipse
look it
to
up.
all of a sudden bring in a solar flare? Could the solar eclipse truly bring in a solar flare? Who knows? We're to a point where we can't trust any information that we get now, so it comes down to us and our tinfoil hats to wear to decide what's best for us and our family.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. I really didn't think nothing about it. I really didn't. I've seen some YouTubers do the stories on it, but the more I started reading about the fact of this, the nuclear, biological, chemical people for the military that's going to be housed there too.
Chemical people?
Why?
Why?
And it may be for a justification reason. It may be there may be, a situation where they're worried that the solar eclipse may cause power
Right.
outages, and there may be, a nuclear plant there, a chemical plant there. I don't know. I don't
Not
know anything
nefarious at
about that
all.
part of Oklahoma.
Right?
But why is all of a sudden you're seeing Texas
Oh,
and Oklahoma
oh,
and Ohio
oh.
and several of those counties declare emergency before anything happens? Declare a disaster before anything happens in the name of just getting more troops. Wouldn't you think that those governors would just say, look, I'm over the state guard anyway. I'm just going to send extra people there to make sure that, everybody has a good time.
Mm-hmm.
No,
That's what it is.
we declare it's emergency. And this is my favorite. It's when they try to justify it. And this is what scares me the most, is when they say, oh, I'm just trying to justify it. Well, the declaration of a disaster and emergency is just for the anticipation of large crowds, increased traffic, and strain on first responders and hospitals. We want to make sure that our people are taken care of. This is a once-in-a-lifetime situation, and we believe it will be well attended.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that sounds great.
Yeah.
But do you declare a disaster and emergency?
Except for it happens every
Do
7
they know
years.
something we don't know? Is it one of those cases where we're just believing into it too much? It's too close to Easter and Passover, and it kind of makes us a little, jittery. I don't know. Here's what I would say to you.
It's not the
No matter
coffee
what
at
the
all.
situation is, here's the good things about hearing news. First of all, I already have a prepper's plan.
Mhm.
If you want to see the solar eclipse, that's awesome. Great. It probably is an awesome spectacle. But make sure you have some extra food and water just in case. I mean, that's what
coffee.
they're saying. Get some extra food and water because there's going to be so many people there. Make sure you're fully gassed up in your vehicle. Make sure you have some extra gas cans done. Make sure you have some extra propane for your outside cooking if all of a sudden what they're saying is true.
And propane accessories.
I just think that there's always reasons to prepare. Now, can you prepare for anything to the extent of, a solar flare and it all of a sudden puts out an EMP blast? Maybe not, but that's what we've been preparing for forever.
Yep.
The whole point of being a prepper and the whole point of living sustainable is to try to build the insurance for safety for our families. Now, does that mean we can prepare for everything? No. But the common sense approach is, I'm seeing the news, they're declaring a disaster just to get troops there for a tourism event. I've never heard of any theme park, I've never heard of any parade claiming a disaster just because they have a crowd situation. I've never heard of a Super Bowl, they win the Super Bowl and they have these big parades. Yes, the governor just brings in extra people. He doesn't declare a disaster. He just makes sure there's people there to help. So I'm a little confused by the wording here. It may be just a fact that it's trying to deter us from thinking about other news and the bad stuff that's going on in the world and make us focus on something.
Diddy.
So it could be just a complete psyop or propaganda. But the problem is we don't know that. And so therefore, my challenge to you is always prepare food safety for your family, water, and a good tank of gas if you ever had to leave.
All right.
These are some good things to have. And I would challenge you, do some research. Just find out what your thoughts are on it. Comment below. I mean, is it just a tourism thing? If it is, then awesome. I think it'd be great and great economic development for those areas.
Right.
But it seems like everybody's not happy about it. It seems like they're almost scared about it. And that's what kind of blows my mind. Do your research. Look at the towns. Is there anything unique about the towns that it's going to be solar flare going across the United States? Is it a big deal? I know in Mississippi, we've not heard anything about it. It's just not a big deal. But it could be something to think about. It's always good to do your research, and it's always good to prepare and make sure that no matter what, no matter where you're at, anything can be used. Remember, any kind of situation can be used to help promote regulation and control. We've seen.
That means that I have like these 4 batteries from the Dollar Tree. This can be used, ladies and gentlemen. It can be used for the apocalypti. Okay, so that's one of the things I wanted to show you guys. Give me 1 second. Let's find the other one that was gonna kind of show you more details and more like graphical. Is he having a stroke? Sorry, man. All right, here we go. I'm gonna bring back to my logo. Give me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to my theme song. So this guy.
So the fun thing with the serpent is, how does the serpent talk? What, and not only that, but why is the serpent's punishment?
If I made a list of the most spectacular things I've experienced in my life, total solar eclipses would be at the top.
is
We
the
all seen
guy.
photographs of eclipses. Forget them. They don't tell you what's going on.
So you're saying don't miss it.
Don't miss
Make sure
it.
you see this.
It'll be 20 years before there's another one in the U.S.
What part of the country will be able to see this upcoming eclipse?
Well, this eclipse is going to come out of
Only the
Mexico,
rich
across
people.
into Texas, across some major cities like Dallas as it does, and then move its way up. And so it's going to cross Indianapolis and other Dayton is going to hit Dayton and on up into northern Ohio, into Canada, but also skirting the northeast as well before it goes out into the Atlantic Ocean.
So if people don't live in that path of totality, should they bother driving to a place that's
makes
in
me
that
hungry.
path?
Absolutely. Nothing compares to totality with
So-
what you see on the sun and what it does to people. I've been in
eyeballs.
partial eclipses before, and of course, the 2 total eclipses I've been to, and 2 annular eclipses. It got pretty exciting as it got deep, but
Yeah.
nothing compares to
Real
totality.
deep.
You have to experience it to understand what I'm saying. If you do take the effort to go into it, you'll thank me later.
For a solar eclipse to happen, the moon has to pass in between the Earth and the sun, which happens every month. So why don't we see an eclipse every month?
The phase when the moon passes between the Earth and the sun is called new moon, and it happens every, 29 and a half days, what we call the synodic period or synodic month. But the moon's orbit is tilted by just, I think, 5.1 degrees from the Earth's orbit around the sun. So the center of it can be as much as 5.1 degrees above where it needs to be when it's at new moon. And since the sun and the moon are only half degree across, well, most months it totally misses. And there are 2 periods a year for about a month where we have the nodes lined up with the direction to the sun. So when there's a new moon, and there will be a new moon, you'll have at least 2 solar eclipses a year, typically 3 or 4, but they generally will be partial for the whole Earth, not total.
Yeah, so over time, that ephemeris, those orbital parameters of the moon have gotten more precise, more accurate, and so because of that, we're able to predict these eclipses with
Yep.
more accuracy.
Wish I
And also
could
just
grow
think
a
about it from
beard
the
like
biblical
that.
worldview. God upholds the universe by the word of his power. He does it so we can have that consistent repeatability over and over again. So it's a biblical worldview that gives us that basis for science, for being able to predict that the future will be like the past.
The neat thing is about the Earth's moon, the sun is 400 times larger than the moon is, but the sun's also 400 times farther away. Which means that those 400 just compensates, so they're both about the same size, a half a degree. And the moon usually will just barely cover up the sun, making, number one, very spectacular eclipses and very rare eclipses. One happens somewhere in the world about every year and a half, but usually it's the middle of Antarctica or in Siberia or, Pacific Ocean. I've read several times that on average, for a given location on the Earth, there is a total solar eclipse about every 4 centuries. Now, maybe thousands of years between, or it might just be a few years between, but
It's like
that's the average. They're very
information I
rare
need
and
to
very
know.
spectacular, and this is the only planet which it matters because it's the only planet which there are beings like us to appreciate that fact.
Are you
That's what I mean
sure-
by God being an engineer, to
about
engineer
that?
how this happens, and also to be an artist.
It shows that uniqueness
Whoa.
that we have on the Earth and being the only planet, and just shows God's design that we have. And there aren't Martians out there that are appreciating eclipses. It's just us here on Earth.
The Earth is special, and we are special, and God, I think, has treated us with this.
Yeah. So speaking of that, how do you secular scientists explain the phenomena of
Sexual
solar eclipses on
scientist?
Earth?
Coincidence.
What?
Just that's it. Just the way it happened to turn out to be. And that's
given.
it. To me, that's not very satisfying.
Yeah, given their naturalistic beliefs, I mean, that's basically all they got, right? It's safe to look at the eclipse.
Who said that? Oh, you're supposed to wear these special glasses that they have, and I ordered a bunch of these. And you need to go to a reputable dealer of these, and the special kind of filter. What? I can't read it. Would you read it?
Yeah,
for
make sure you
everybody?
get one of the filters. It has to have an ISO 12312-2. That's the requirement.
Right.
Oh.
3 things you need to worry about. Number 1 is blocking out all the visible light, and these things I can't see a thing through them.
I can't
Hey,
even.
But with the sun, you can. I've tested these out already. I've used them, of course, at the annular eclipse. 2 other things is that not all filters that can block out the visible light will block out the ultraviolet and the infrared.
Yeah, so welding glasses.
I don't recommend that because the most dense ones they have, I forget the number, it's for arc welding, it will be dim enough that you can see, but the problem is it may allow ultraviolet through. And you won't feel that. You won't have a sensation like it will with visible light, but it can do damage. So
Yeah.
I recommend that you go with these kind of glasses. Find a reputable dealer that will handle these. It's very dangerous to look at the
That's not
partial
free?
phases without protective filters like this. But when totality comes,
can take 'em off.
they come off. I'll have somebody designated to do a countdown for us, to tell us, okay, 3,
Alright,
2, 1, look,
3.
look. And then at the end, you have a 1 minute warning, 30-second countdown to 0. Don't look anymore, because it's
Right.
quite dangerous to look at the little tiny bit of the photosphere coming through.
To recap, during the partial phases, wear those glasses. During totality, make sure you take them off.
Yep.
And then as we go into the partial phases again, put on those glasses.
But eclipses are party events. You won't be wearing your glasses all the time. You'll put them on, look up there, take them off, put them up again, just check the progress. It'll be a party atmosphere. I would suggest during totality, the binoculars would help. It will magnify what you see. The corona is huge. It's several degrees across, and telescopes just aren't wide enough to capture that usually. I don't recommend telescopes
Thanks for
unless you have
being
a
here.
very
Right on.
wide field on them. And be sure you know how to use them. It's not the time during totality
Thank
to
you,
try to
thank
figure
you.
out how to use the telescope.
Yeah. So you mentioned a little bit earlier about some of the conditions that we can expect during totality, like, the deep twilight, the dusk. What are some other conditions we can expect?
Well, as you approach totality, you'll notice it'll get dimmer. Outdoor lighting with light sensors on them, they will come on. If there are any insects out there, they will start doing their business. Birds, the daytime birds will start to go roost. Some night animals will come out. We saw a bat in 2017, a few minutes before totality.
Okay, I'm just gonna say it. This guy is full of shit. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was amazing. Don't forget to buy my coffee. Amazon.com. There's a discount link below. Also, don't forget to watch all of my movies. Everything is going good. But get ready, most of all, for April 8th. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be insane. Or it might be nothing. Either way, I'll be online. Come visit me. Skunk Bunks Discord. And come tell me how you feel about April 8th. And if you want to join now, the description is in the title screen of this Twitch channel, or the YouTube, or the Kick. Whatever one you're watching it on, don't forget to subscribe and hip thrust that button, and be the change you want to see. Love life, live large. And I'm Tommy Skunk, your host. We'll see you guys next time on Skunkfell.